Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Impact with Elle. I am hoping that you're enjoying my series. I really welcome your dialogue. I want to have these discussions. I want to learn. I hope you're learning and we can all get something out of it. Today, I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in terms of the stimulus and the economy. I know I've touched on this quite a few times, but it is on my mind, especially since we continue to pour more money from the government and the Fed into the economy. And it seems like everybody thinks that's just a wonderful thing. But the reality is, paper money doesn't equal production. Paper money in and of itself is absolutely worthless. What stands behind it is what is meaningful. We aren't producing anything. I mean, this is pretty obvious. Again, we'll speak to the trade deficit. We have been spending more, but producing less. We're spending more because of the stimulus dollars, and we are producing less because everybody is still at home and not producing. So we're buying other countries' goods. This is a real problem. And I think that America has to wake up and realize we've got to get back to work. The payments from our government, while everybody thinks stimulus is such a great thing, obviously I don't. I think you guys know that, but the government isn't creating any goods or services. There is nothing behind what they're doing other than printing money. There's no value to it. We are now in a surplus of money situation. Well, the money supply has increased 25% in 2020. Even Japan, in its worst year, has only increased its money supply 10%. If you look at the Weimar Republic right before World War I, we can see that they increased their money supply by 50%. And what did that lead to? I think we all know, world wars. And here we have done 25% in a single year. And yet I don't see anybody talking about this. There's no concern. There's no problem with that. It's like you show up on a desert island and you have suitcases full of money, but there's nothing to buy. So the money is useless. It doesn't do you any good. And I think that's what we just fail to understand in our current environment. Endless money in the printing in the US directly goes against the Federal Reserve Act. When the Federal Reserve was initially created, the idea was to expand and contract the money supply based on what was going on in the economy. Funnily enough, they haven't contracted the money supply. Typically, when an economy is in a downturn, you would contract the money supply. But that's not the case. We're expanding it more than ever in a downturn. It makes no sense. And I think it's really going to come around to bite us. So the question is, well, what do you do about that? There's a lot of investment folks out there. I am not licensed at this time. I have been in the past, but I'm not right now, so I can't give investment advice. But I would say, please, do your research and look into this, because this is a real thing. And I hope that all of you can start to protect yourselves from what's coming down the road. I think it's one of the things that I'm seeing a lot in the media is there's a lot of discussion about, we're having shortages in this and shortages in that. And that's nonsense. We don't have shortages. We have an abundance of money. There's you have to look at both sides of this, and that is the fundamental problem. Don't listen to what the press is saying. They don't understand economics. I'm really concerned because I think the consequences of the stimulus are coming. We haven't felt them. And despite, what Biden has said that, we've suffered a lot through COVID and it's been a really hard time. Yes, we have suffered a lot. People have died. Businesses have been totally destroyed. Lives have been destroyed. Yes, we have suffered a lot. But this is nothing compared to the world wars and what we've gone through in the past, when we actually did take our poison. We dealt with it. Americans during World War II saved, and they invested, and they gave money, and they paid higher taxes, and they bought government bonds, and they did what they could to support the country. It is the complete opposite right now. Our government is giving people money, and nobody is suffering from that standpoint. They're not suffering the way that they did to make sacrifices during the wars. It's just not comparable at all. Nobody's sacrificing anything. So yeah, we've kicked the can down the road, and it's really concerning. It will come back to haunt us. Right now, we're spending $10 trillion in our various stimulus and government budget items. We collect $3.5 trillion in taxes. This is an unimaginable gap. It's almost triple the spending of what we're bringing in income. If we weren't the reserve currency, this country would have collapsed long ago. And I don't know how long foreigners are going to be willing to support that position. So again, I think we really got to open our eyes and realize that there is no free lunch. There's no free things. I know that we have made election decisions, and it's politically attractive to vote for people who are going to give you stuff, and everything is for free, and you can just, but that's not reality. That is simply not reality. Paper money is worthless, and we are quickly making the dollar worthless.